CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us for this webcast edition of CTV News at 6. We begin tonight with a winter blast across midwestern Ontario. School buses were canceled with snow squalls burying parts of the region. With more, here's Scott Miller.
Are you ready for a repeat of last winter? Because if today is any indication, we're headed for a carbon copy of last year with large amounts of snow in a short amount of time.
For some reason here, just with the area that we're located near the lake, we do get lots of storms. Last year, if you remember, we did get a large amount of snow over the long period of time there with a lot of road closures.
Road closures are a distinct possibility tonight as high winds whip up snow squalls over much of Huron, Perth, Bruce, Grey, and Wellington counties. So at the end of this storm, some areas of midwestern Ontario could see as much as 75, possibly 100 centimeters of snow. Other areas may only see 10 or 15 centimeters. It is how off-lake snow squalls work. Streamers coming off the lake, hitting some areas very hard and leaving others generally untouched. Road conditions are expected to deteriorate quickly this afternoon and evening as the temperature drops. Residents are being encouraged to consult Environment Canada's new weather warning alert system from now on. Every watch and warning will be assigned a color based on the confidence of the forecast and impact of the specific weather event. Yellow means hazardous weather may cause damage or disruption, and impacts are moderate. Orange means the forecast weather is likely to cause damage or disruption, and impacts are major, widespread, and longer lasting. Red is most serious, suggesting very dangerous, possibly life-threatening weather with extensive, widespread, and prolonged impacts. Today's snow squall warning, stretching from Port Elgin to Grand Bend, is deemed to be orange. Of course, if you don't have to travel and you're young and off school for the day, this kind of weather is a potential gold mine. Brothers Kyken and Bryson Hodgkinson are turning their first snow day of the season into a temporary snow shoveling business.
We're doing it to help people out, and we like the snow.
Nice. And why do you like the snow? You honestly like winter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can make money shoveling.
The Hodgkinson brothers will likely be off school and shoveling on Friday as well. The worst of this snowstorm is expected to come to an end by Friday night, though. But snowfall will continue into Saturday and Sunday for some regions in midwestern Ontario. In Wingham, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Point Pelee National Park was closed today because of yesterday's high winds. Officials say those winds knocked down several trees throughout the park. They say staff spent today cutting them up and moving them off roads and trails. Yesterday's winds gusted up to 90 kilometers an hour. And staff say the park will reopen as soon as it's safe for visitors, but gave no timeline for that. Joined now by Julie Atchison, meteorologist. As we heard in Scott Miller's story there as well, there's been a change in the way, and we can see it over your shoulder there, about some of the warning system nationally. And what a time for that to come into play, because everything that's going on right now weather-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. And hoping to make it easier for folks to understand the watches and warnings that are in place. So here's what you need to know. So the yellow is common, and impacts are moderate, localized, and short term, as you can see. So that would be like a snow squall watch. And then as we upgrade to orange, less common. So these impacts are major, widespread. This would be our snow squall warning. And the red, this would be an ice storm, an extended period of time affecting hundreds of thousands of people. So likely won't see a lot of the red. We will likely see a lot of orange as we head through winter. This is, of course, a winter storm warning will be orange. So it'll depend on, of course, the impact level. So we have a snow squall watch in effect for London, Middlesex, Eastern, Lambton County, and that stretches into Oxford, Hallam, and Norfolk included in that as well. And then as we move to areas to the north, that's our snow squall warning here on Perth, Grey, and Bruce, southern areas of those counties. So everywhere lit up in orange is our snow squall warning. It's been a rough day on area roads north of London with some heavy accumulating snowfall and snow squalls. They continue out there tonight, dumping significant amounts of snowfall in and around our region. Under some of these heavier snow squalls in Huron County, upwards of 25 centimeters of snow. Areas like Mount Forest, you'll see some heavy snowfall as well, KW. So if you are traveling from London toward Toronto, you will encounter numerous whiteout conditions. Our high today coming in at +1, our low at 0. Temperature hovering near the freezing mark, normally 4 and -3. Look at this satellite radar. This is intense in terms of the heavy snow squalls that are moving through north of London. Expecting to see some bus cancellations into tomorrow, likely some road closures. As Scott Miller mentioned in his story, really starting to see the off-lake activity firing this evening, so expecting that to slowly drift toward London. So Londoners, how much snow are we getting? There is the potential we could see about 5 to 10 centimeters overnight. That's if the snow squall sets up and moves right into the city. We will likely see less than that in terms of this squall. Also a possibility I'm going to go on the lower end of that and be a bit more conservative. Waking up tomorrow morning, though, there will be some snowfall in the area and blowing snow because the winds are still quite gusty. We have a winter storm warning in effect in through northern Ontario, and again, that is now orange. So the impacts are major and widespread. And again, when we recap that snow squall watch, moderate impact and very localized. So temperatures overnight, wind chills close to -10 in London will drop down to about -3. And if you're near the lakeshore tonight, at the freezing mark. The cold air that's moving across the prairies has made its way into southern Ontario. We have this spinning upper level low that's continuing to pull cold air down toward the surface, and that activates Lake Huron significantly. So flurries will continue, some heavy snow squall and bands of snow moving just north of London. But by tomorrow morning, that one band is expected to settle into the city, and that will mean some accumulation first thing in the morning. Again, the possibility for another 5 centimeters of snowfall. And then as we head into your Friday night, things will start to quiet down in London, but north of London, this streamer, that is a big one. So if you are traveling from London towards Toronto, you will encounter whiteout conditions. I can't reiterate this enough. I know it can be fine and bright and beautiful at your house, and then you head out on the road and encounter these streamers of snow squalls. So along that 401 corridor, I am expecting one to be through the Kitchener area tomorrow, through the Woodstock area tomorrow, and then heading into Toronto. There'll be one coming off Georgian Bay that will be moving through Toronto. Temperature sitting at the freezing mark for your Friday. Over the next 7 days, we do have another weather system coming in Sunday with a chance of a rain-snow mix, 3 degrees, -2 on Monday and mainly cloudy, overcast on Tuesday and -1. Mix of sun and cloud on Wednesday and calmer conditions next week. Morning flurries right across the region. Snow squalls with the exception if you're in Sarnia, you'll see none of this. If you're towards Chatham, nothing. And then areas east, you'll pick it up. So Middlesex County, you're into it, Oxford County, Huron, Perth, and that stretches right through Kitchener, Waterloo as well. Midwestern Ontario, you could see 20 to 35 centimeters in some of these heavier snow squall bands, and then more coming our way heading through the day tomorrow. So very active weather pattern with that cold air blowing over Lake Huron tonight. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Julie. Canadian Food Inspection agents say they've identified a third avian flu outbreak in the Strathroy-Caradoc area. Thousands of birds are affected by a strain officials have described as highly contagious. With more, here's Jerry Dewan.
H5N1, described as a highly pathogenic avian flu, has been identified on 3 commercial properties, concentrated southwest of Strathroy with the security zone highlighted in deep red. The first infection was identified on the 14th, with subsequent infections on the 22nd and on Wednesday. Canadian Food Inspection Agency officials have established a primary control zone around the region to prevent the spread of the virus. In that restricted area, a permit is needed to move birds, their products, and any byproducts. Infected birds will be culled, and the properties will be monitored for any further infections. A cull of ostriches in British Columbia sparked heated debate over whether the birds needed to be killed or if controlled monitoring could have been used. CFIA officials say birds can have the disease without immediately showing signs, and the cull was needed to prevent further spread through contact with migratory birds. The CFIA says the common source of spread in our region is through those migratory birds, which is why we see outbreaks in the spring and fall. Human infection with avian influenza viruses is rare and usually occurs after close contact with infected birds or highly contaminated environments. The CFIA isn't disclosing the exact location of the local infections. In Strathroy-Caradoc, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
A coroner's inquest began today looking into the death of a London woman 6 years ago. She died in hospital after she was arrested by police. With more on what jurors can expect to hear, here's Nick Pepperella.
28-year-old Amanda Bolt was arrested by London police for property damage and taken into cells at headquarters on November 2nd of 2019. Through video exhibits, the inquest sees that she tells officers she has a medical condition, saying, "I need medication so I don't have a heart attack." Bolt is then released to get her medication. She had other release conditions, but after breaching them, she is rearrested hours later and taken into cells again. During the night, she is found to be in medical distress. She is administered CPR, given 4 doses of naloxone for drug use, and is rushed to Victoria Hospital, where she dies 10 days later. The inquest hears that Bolt had a difficult upbringing, spending 10 years in foster care. Over time, she hung out with addicts and developed her own history of addiction and mental health challenges, and eventually dying from a heart attack. In a submission from her family, the inquest heard she had a life filled with potential, doomed by circumstances. The inquest, which is being live streamed, is expected to hear from a total of 9 witnesses and is slated to last 7 days. It's hoped the jury's recommendations will prevent others from dying in a similar way. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Patience appears to be running thin at City Hall with the owner of a prominent building in the Old East Village. As Daryl Newcomb reports, it's become a magnet for vandalism and trespassing and may soon be demolished.
This graffiti-covered former bank at the corner of Dundas and Lyle might soon be demolished by City Hall, much to the relief of neighbors.
It's been quite a problem. A lot of homeless people like to hang around and whatnot.
A longtime eyesore in the Old East Village, it's the most prominent of 3 derelict buildings that City Hall wants to tear down if the owners don't immediately address numerous property standards violations. According to a report, quote, staff have made repeated attempts to get the property owners to take responsibility for maintaining their buildings with limited to no success. The owners have no intention of adapting or reusing the existing buildings.
Either fix it up or bring it down, and our hope is it comes down because I think it's too far gone to be fixed up.
And it's no surprise to the Old East Village BIA that the former bank has been a hot spot for bylaw compliance officers, including 24 responses to the address since 2016.
There's been break-ins, there's been fires, the building's not maintained. Those that are unhoused are using it inside. When they're not inside, they're outside in the underneath the overhangs.
If the property standards aren't addressed after this final notice and the city has to step in and demolish the building, all of the associated costs are put on the tax bill. 2 derelict homes are also on the list for many of the same reasons, including this rural home on Gideon Road that's been on the fire department's list of vacant buildings since 2012. Recently, it began to fall into disrepair. And this 5,000 square foot estate home on Commissioners Road was severely damaged by fire. And previous to that, police report it was the site of drug use, open fires, and the storage and handling of stolen property. However, this real estate sign on the property might also be a potential sign of progress. Meanwhile, back in the Old East Village, Kevin Morrison says there are more buildings beyond saving that are negatively impacting the business district.
Absentee landlords and boarded up, they're looking for funding to fix up their buildings. Well, your buildings have been vacant for 7 to 10 years.
The Community and Protective Services Committee will consider the list of proposed demolitions at its meeting December 1st. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
A city councillor wants London's new Renoviction bylaw re-examined, suggesting landlords are exploiting a loophole to remove low-income tenants from their apartments.
It seems like there's new means, new loopholes being leveraged to evict in bad faith.
London's Renoviction bylaw requires landlords who are renovating an apartment to obtain a license from City Hall before issuing an N13 eviction notice. However, the rules exempt landlords who are transforming residential apartments into commercial space. The councillor says next month he wants to start the process of closing that loophole.
They can say whatever they want, but the truth is the truth. They are trying to create new commercial space in an area that's very close to the core, and we have a ton of commercial space that's vacant as it is that we're trying to fill. So a landlord coming in trying to say that we want to change the use of this residential unit to commercial in an area that has plenty of commercial space available, that tells me right there that is a bad faith eviction.
A Chatham-Kent councillor says the municipality is coming up short on public safety. He says there are growing concerns downtown, which police attribute to social disorder issues, not criminal activity. With more, here's Chris Campbell.
I think the citizens are sort of reaching a boiling point.
Police say officers recently investigated an incident circulating on social media downtown and determined no criminal offense had occurred. According to police, more than 80% of downtown calls now involve social disorder, including homelessness, addiction, and mental health crises, not crime. But Michael Bondi says residents feel the impact every day.
People are fearful because a lot of people are, they act very, very spooky and strange. And, frankly, we're not really used to that here. Like, this isn't downtown Toronto. And it's been such an explosion of this problem here that we're off guard. This hasn't been gradual in Chatham. It's been like, bam, like in the last 18 months.
Bondi says while police continue to respond, the scale of the problem makes prevention difficult.
The police are doing their best. Like, frankly, I think the police are almost in containment mode. There's so many fires going on, literally, from time to time, that the police, they can't prevent this. They're not outnumbered, but they can't stay on top of what's going on.
In a statement, Police Chief Kirk Earley said, "We recognize that public safety is at the core of our community, and we want everyone to feel safe and welcome." Police say increased patrols are in place downtown, and officers are working with community partners to connect people in crisis with support.
There's the vandalism and the crime, and the people burning fires. The other thing that really bothers people is that it seems like this element is completely lawless.
Bondi says long-term solutions like shelters and supportive housing take years and millions of dollars, leaving few immediate options.
Municipal council, our hands are sort of tied. It's all about funding. It's all about policing. So at the moment, it's out of control, and we don't know what to do about it.
CTV News reached out to Chatham-Kent Police for an interview with the chief or a spokesperson, but officials were unavailable. Meantime, they're encouraging residents and business owners to continue reporting incidents, saying public safety is a shared responsibility.
If there's a problem, call the police. That's what they're for. Obviously they're slightly overwhelmed by all this stuff, but their advice is to call them, and they'll do what they can.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
The Prime Minister was in Calgary today, signing a memorandum of understanding with the Alberta government, paving the way for a new pipeline to BC. With more on that agreement and the opposition it still faces, here's Mike Lucatour.
Danielle Smith's excitement could not be contained. Alberta isn't getting a bitumen pipeline yet, but it is one step closer.
This agreement includes a clear path to the construction of an over 1 million barrel per day Indigenous co-owned bitumen pipeline to Asian markets.
If everything goes smoothly, senior government officials say construction could start in 2029. But there's one important caveat.
If there's not a private sector component, there won't be a pipeline.
That's just one of the conditions as laid out in the agreement, as is Indigenous co-ownership and collaboration with BC to share the benefits. There has to be a new carbon pricing agreement, and the Pathways Carbon Capture project must move forward for the pipeline to do the same.
I don't know that the Prime Minister would have agreed to a new bitumen pipeline without Pathways, and we wouldn't have agreed to Pathways without a new bitumen pipeline.
The carbon storage program is key to Canada meeting its commitment of achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. The federal Conservatives are criticizing the process, saying the Prime Minister could push this ahead using existing legislation.
We even supported him, gives him the power to approve it. So we only need him to do one thing for this pipeline to happen. Get out of the way.
A pipeline would go through BC, but that province wasn't part of this deal. And the Bloc Québécois says it's a dangerous precedent.
The federal government making a deal in order to backstab a province and its jurisdiction.
Alberta has until July 1st to submit a pipeline project application to the new Major Projects Office. If all conditions are met, then the federal government will make an exemption to the oil tanker ban on the BC coast. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
White House officials are promising a crackdown on Afghan immigrants after authorities identified an Afghan asylum seeker as the suspect in a recent mass shooting. 2 National Guard members were seriously wounded in D.C. With more on the Trump administration's response, here's Judy Trent.
Two National Guards are clinging to life in hospital. 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, shot just blocks from the White House.
Two families are shattered and destroyed and torn apart as a result of the actions of one man.
The suspect was also shot, taken down by other soldiers. Officials say Ramanullah Lakhanwal, a 29-year-old Afghan national, drove across the country from his home in Washington state, where he lived with his wife and 5 children.
There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. We are fully investigating that aspect of his background as well, to include any known associates that are either overseas or here in the United States of America.
Lakhanwal's relationship was with the CIA, trained and equipped by American operatives to fight against the Taliban. He was among the thousands of people American forces evacuated from Afghanistan after the U.S. military hastily withdrew from the war-torn country under former President Joe Biden. Lakhanwal was officially granted asylum earlier this year. Following the shooting, the U.S. announced that immigration requests of Afghan nationals would be stopped indefinitely, pending a review of security vetting.
As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price.
Lakhanwal has been currently charged with multiple counts of assault with intent to kill. Donald Trump says he wants to pursue the death penalty if necessary. He calls these crimes an act of terror. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The annual Business Cares food drive kicked off this morning. Organizers say demand for these supports is higher in the London area. With more on the campaign and the growing need, here's Rita Ismail.
The 26th annual Business Cares food drive launched at RBC Place, and organizers say this year comes with even more challenges for Londoners.
I've seen a steady increase, it's unbelievable. It's up 2% over this time last year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's on top of 50% over the previous 2 years.
Dunn says the campaign wouldn't be possible without the volunteers who step up year after year.
It is all volunteers, and this weekend particularly at these grocery stores, 1,000 volunteers, and I need some of them throughout the campaign.
The campaign brought in a record-breaking 683,000 pounds of food last year, but organizers say the focus this year is on financial donations, which give the London Food Bank flexibility to buy what families need most, including fresh produce, milk, eggs, and baby food. The London Food Bank says the numbers they're seeing this year are unprecedented.
Over the last 2 months, we've seen over 6,100 families a month, over 17,000 individuals, and that's directly at the food bank or our satellites. It doesn't even include all the other agencies, so the need is growing.
The campaign runs through December with donation bins set up across the city. For more information on how to donate or get involved, you can visit businesscares.ca. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
The free holiday market is back inside 100 Kellogg Lane, hosting a kickoff event tonight. Take a look at the 6th annual Merriment Market.
This is our 6th year of hosting the Merry Market, and this year we have spread the activation site-wide. There's so much going on, and we're so excited about it. It goes on for 4 weekends, Thursday to Sunday, until December 21st, so the Sunday right before Christmas. So this is our Century Center. This is where a majority of our vendors are. We have a pretty good selection. There's a little bit of everything. We have clothing, candles, soap, really nice kids play sets. We have our courtyard beautifully decorated. We have our gingerbread room where you can purchase gingerbread house kits and decorate them in this space. We have the factory transforming into Whoville and the slime lab becoming the Grinch lab, as well as Paradigm Spirits is having a Pré Chalet ski lounge vibe pop-up. We also have Santa's Enchanted Elevator, which is launching next week, which is a really fun and unique immersive experience that is great for anybody and kids especially. So we're just excited to spread the holiday spirit all across this property and provide great experiences to come and make memories with your friends and family.
And finally, wishes come true for local families. Make-A-Wish Canada hosted its annual Trees of Joy event today. With more on what it meant to the invited families, here's Brian Bicknell.
11-year-old Marcus and brother 8-year-old Mason have some fun around their family's Tree of Joy. Marcus has leukemia, and he and his family recently took a trip to Disney World in Florida for his Make-A-Wish Canada wish. So what did he like best?
Roller coasters.
The family from Windsor is taking part in the Make-A-Wish Trees of Joy event, where a custom festive tree is decorated for every child's favorite things and taken to the family home. As for Marcus, in and out of Children's Hospital in London for the past 3 years, parents Cindy and Adrian say Make-A-Wish is a break from the stress.
The tough times, it was, supporting Marcus and just another way of they have really contributed to our family and making sure that, we've just a breath of relief, and especially during the holidays, and really makes our son and our family really happy to be here, and that support that they've shown us over the years.
We went to Disney, and it was a wonderful family trip to not worry about anything and just be kids and a family, and this too just kind of puts all the stress behind and try to move forward.
Trees of Joy is supporting 20 children with critical illness and their families, up from 16 last year. Across Ontario, 1,200 children are waiting for their wish, according to CEO Megan Stovall-McKnight.
Because wishes are medicine, and through events like Trees of Joy, we are able to raise money to make these wishes come true because we receive no government funding. Each of these kids is on their own journey with critical illness, and they have been prescribed a wish to help support them on that journey.
The Trees of Joy London event raised $200,000 through various sponsors.
And so each of these sponsors here today has given $10,000 to wish it forward to a child who received their wish next year.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching our webcast edition of CTV News at 6. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Bye for now.